Hello everyone, welcome back to your channel name. Today we're diving deep into one of the most dramatic moments of the 2025 campaign season, the Florida rally where former President Donald Trump laid out sweeping immigration plans. At the heart of his speech, a daring promise to fundamentally reshape U.S. immigration enforcement. In this video we'll break down what he said, why he said it, the policy mechanics behind his proposals, and the potential implications both politically and for people's lives. So buckle up, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and let's get into it. To understand this rally, we need a little context. Immigration has long been a cornerstone of Trump's political brand, from the 2016 campaign to his years in office, and now into this 2025 rally circuit. At the rally in Florida, the messaging was clear: secure the border aggressively, stop unauthorized immigration in its tracks, and carry out large-scale enforcement operations. The campaign rally wasn't just rhetoric, it was a signal of priorities, of what a second term, or a re-emergence, might look like. Importantly, key parts of the speech echoed promises such as the largest deportation operation in U.S. history, ending birthright citizenship and halting illegal entries. With that backdrop, let's examine what he actually promised at the Florida rally. The big promises from the Florida rally. At the Florida rally, Trump made several high-impact promises. Mass deportation/uncontrolled enforcement. He vowed that his administration would launch the largest deportation operation in the history of our country. End to birthright citizenship. He pledged that one of his first acts would be an executive order clarifying that children born in the U.S. to undocumented parents would not receive automatic citizenship. Shrinking legal pathways and ramping up removal of those currently in the country without authorization. The campaign documents show he planned to invoke historic laws, redirect federal resources, and retool the enforcement machinery. Local and state cooperation. Although the speech was national in tone, the Florida setting underscores his focus on key swing states and local enforcement collaboration, e.g., state agencies, law enforcement stepping into roles together. Those promises paint a picture of not just tougher border control, but a comprehensive enforcement regime. Next up, the mechanics, how he says he'll do it, and what potential obstacles lie ahead. Policy mechanics, how he says he'll do it. So how exactly does Trump plan to deliver on these promises? Let's walk through some of the mechanics as laid out in public materials and inferred from his speech. Executive orders reinterpretation of law. For example, ending birthright citizenship via executive action rather than constitutional amendment. Mass deportation operations. He talks about sweeping raids, multi-agency task forces, leveraging the federal apparatus. Critics call it logistically daunting. Building detention and processing capacity. Enforcement requires beds, processing centers, detention, legal review. The Florida legislation shows how states are prepping. State and local enforcement partnerships. For instance, under the 287G program, state troopers in Florida were given expanded immigration enforcement roles. Legal and financial shifts. Redirecting federal funds, shrinking legal avenues for migrants, increasing enforcement budgets. But this is where things get tricky. There are a number of legal, logistical and political hurdles, constitutional challenges, e.g., birthright citizenship, immense cost and manpower needed for mass deportations, potential backlash from communities, economy and foreign relations, coordination across federal, state and local jurisdictions. Let's take a deeper look at the legal/political issues next. Legal political implications. Any plan of this magnitude invites scrutiny. Here are some of the key implications. Constitutional questions. Ending birthright citizenship touches the 14th Amendment. Courts will almost certainly hear challenges. Cost and feasibility. Deporting millions of people, building detention centers, processing legal cases, these are enormous expenditures. Some analysts flag the high cost and diversion of resources. Economic and social fallout. Removing large numbers of undocumented immigrants affects sectors like agriculture, service industries, communities with mixed status families. Political risk and reward. For Trump's base, the hard line can energize support, but for independents and diverse communities, there's risk of backlash. Also, state-by-state cooperation may vary. State versus federal dynamics. As seen in Florida, states may enact laws aligning with Trump's agenda, but that opens up conflicts with federal law, budgets, and civil liberties. In short, the promise is bold, perhaps historic in scale, but success depends on navigating legal hurdles, cost, and public sentiment. Reactions. Critique what to watch. Unsurprisingly, the reaction to the Florida rally and Trump's immigration promises has been mixed. Supporters applaud the tough stance and see it as delivering on campaign promises of secure the border. Critics warn of human rights violations, fear for immigrant families, and potential economic disruption. For example, questions about how such mass deportations would work in practice. Legal experts flag constitutional issues and practical feasibility. What should we be watching going forward? Here are some key indicators. Legislation and executive orders. Will new laws or orders be introduced that enact these promises? Budget and enforcement numbers. Increases to budget for detention, ICE/Border Patrol staffing. State seizure of enforcement roles. State-level cooperation. How many states follow Florida's lead in building infrastructure and entering enforcement agreements? Court challenges. Birthright citizenship changes. Mass deportation authority. Constitutional fights. Impact on communities and economy. Labor disruption. Industries reliant on undocumented workers. Immigrant-led communities responding. In conclusion, the Florida rally delivered perhaps one of the boldest immigration speeches in recent U.S. political history. Trump signaled not just a tougher border, but a sweeping transformation of how the U.S. handles undocumented immigration, citizenship rules, and enforcement. For supporters, this is a long-awaited fulfillment of election promises. For critics, it's a warning of sweeping power grabs and human consequences. The truth is, policy of this scale rarely stays strictly rhetorical. Momentum matters. Implementation matters. The next months and years will be critical in determining how and whether these promises become reality. Thanks for watching. What do you think of these proposals? Are they feasible? Are they just campaign rhetoric? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new here, and ring the bell to get notified of future uploads. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged. Check out our other videos, Title A, on the border wall strategy, Title B, on state-level immigration enforcement. See you there.